Hello, everybody, and welcome to Forever Sports. Massive breaking news. The private equity deal that was being pushed by SA Rugby has officially been turned down by members at a special general meeting earlier today. And as a result, this process will still continue, but right now will not go ahead after the members decide to reject the proposal by SA Rugby, which is proving to be quite an interesting sort of standoff between SA Rugby and the member unions. And what's quite interesting is the reasoning, I think, if you look at some of the unions. And unfortunately, majority of the fans, for example, obviously don't want this deal to go through. Lots of talks about the fact that are we selling the Springbok brand, which we're not. The Springbok brand will never change, and it's got nothing to do with the rugby structures. It's a commercial branch of the company that's going to be set up to then sort of do the work. Now, the fans want to keep it, saying that, you can't sell it off to private investor and the likes like that. I don't get the feeling that the member unions are worried about that, to be perfectly honest. I think they're worried about the particular proposal that's been built in. And from the sounds of it, the unions actually want to kind of be involved, and they think that they can look at putting a South African thing together. So I worry about the reasoning, for example, that it's been turned down. Unfortunately, when it comes to the unions, I'd be very surprised if they're sitting there saying, we don't want this because, we don't want SARU to be sold off. We need to keep this within the country. Because at the end of the day, an equity deal is going to benefit the unions because it's going to add more money to SA Rugby, add more money to the junior structures, for example, women's structures and the likes. So it's beneficial for the unions to have an equity deal or any sort of deal which will increase the income. And especially given the fact that right now it's the unions that are bleeding the money out of SA Rugby. So I suppose one of those things, even if it's not for the right reasons, if it's the right result, then we're happy, isn't it? But let's get stuck into the press release, shall we? So the press release came out literally 5 minutes ago from when I'm recording this, and it says as follows. The South African Rugby Union resolved on Friday to reject a proposal to accept a potential private equity investment in the sport's commercial rights. The proposal failed to reach the 75% majority required for such a transaction to be approved. 7 of the 30 members with voting rights opposed the proposal. Now, those 7, we know from the sounds of it, were based on previous, will likely have been Lions, Bulls, Stormers, Sharks, Pumas. I think the Chiefs were also against it, and there was somebody as well. I don't want to say the Greek was, but one of the other unions were against it as well. It says that, however, the Ackley Sports Group, which was identified by the members as the preferred bidder in December 2023, has an exclusivity period until the end of 2024 to make a revised offer, should it wish. I wouldn't be surprised if they walk away, to be perfectly honest. If you look at the public backlash, the general feeling against them, I'd be very surprised if they come in with more money, for example, or really push for this deal. What will be interesting is once they've lost out on that exclusivity period, what will happen then? Talks about, the Berger Investment Group, Scott Berger Senior and the likes, Han Rupert, for example, all wants to get involved. I think the reality is there will be an equity deal within the next 5 years. I think it's going to have to happen. SA Rugby have been quite open about the fact that, that they, facing potentially not being viable without the possibility of an equity deal, given the fact that they struggle to turn a profit, given the fact that they have to fund so much of the union's businesses. And, the big thing about this is that the equity deal is supposedly to secure a sustainable future for SA Rugby. And if the numbers make sense, for example, and the only way we can sustain it is through an equity deal, then it's going to have to happen. I think the issue comes, how does it look like, what does it look like, and who is going to take it on? And, the main feeling is, for example, international investors, external investors, all they do is that they want to put the money in to then get the money out. Whereas the feeling is local investors, for example, are more in tune and are less, treating this as a pure business transaction, and they're more sort of invested in the success of the box and the brand rather than just the commercial aspect of it. In terms of what was said by Mr. Mark Alexander, the president of SARU, says the input and perspective shared by our member unions have been invaluable, and we respect those perspectives. He says our goal remains to secure a sustainable and prosperous future for South African rugby, ensuring that we continue to grow and succeed on both national and international stages. He says we remain committed to working transparently and inclusively as we navigate this process. We thank our members for their engagement and feedback and look forward to presenting revised proposals. This is the important thing, revised proposals that reflect our collective goals in due course. Further advice will be provided as it rises, and it says the same meeting elected Mary Ann Musikwa, a member of the Executive Council, as a female representative to the World Rugby General Council. So, I mean, a little sidebar at the moment. That's actually very exciting to make sure that we've got a member onto the World Rugby General Council. So, yeah, I mean, really cool to see. And congratulations to Mary Ann Musikwa for that election. But I think the main takeaway is that this is not the end of the fiasco. You know, it's this has been turned down, and I don't think they will ever vote to approve a bid from the Ackley Sports Group, for example. My money says there will be an equity deal within the next 5 years, probably even in the next 18 months, to be perfectly honest. And that's the reality, because at the moment, that's SARU claiming that is the only way they're going to become financially viable. And I suppose the idea is that in theory, if you can get the logistics, the T's and C's, the fine print all correct, so the equity deal will work, then I don't think too many people have the issue with it. But the problem is we're talking about, and this is the problem, is that we're not selling the box, but we're selling part of SA Rugby in terms of selling a stake in a commercial company which is going to be created to handle the commercialization basically of SA Rugby and the brand management and stuff like that. So that doesn't mean, for example, all of a sudden, we're going to have a brand new Springbok logo and the likes, but there will be big sort of difference in the way that it's commercially advertised, potentially the broadcast rights are done, the way that it's marketed, the way that the brand sort of looks and feels, not so much from the literal, Springbok point, but your slogans, for example, the campaigns you have and the likes. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. Please do smash a like on the video. Please do subscribe to the channel as well. Thank you very much for watching. My name is Steve. I'll chat to you soon.